Hello, my name is Matthew, and I read part 4 of Batman The Dark Knight Returns as a part of my read along with Steve Donahue and also Michael K. Vaughn, who's been making really fun, interesting videos about this Batman series as well. And we're on to part 4, which I was struggling with. I was extremely reluctant. I could see what was coming, and I was not looking forward to it. Part one of this four-part series is Batman coming out of retirement to clean up the streets of Gotham, and he battles Two-Face. And then in part two, we still have this mutant gang running around Gotham City, and Batman battles the leader of the mutant gang. And then part three is the Joker, who has escaped from Arkham Asylum and has another one of his Joker schemes, and Batman battles the Joker. And all throughout all three of these parts, we had appearances of Superman. In the first part, it was just a piece of dialogue. It said Clark on a voice message in Wayne Manor. Part two, we have a little bit more of Superman. He has a kind of a cameo appearance with the president. We get just the Superman symbol. And then in part three, Superman makes more of an appearance. And Batman and Superman in this issue, in this run, have a contentious relationship. And so this is all leading up to a grand, epic battle between Batman and Superman. And it just doesn't make any sense to me. There's no battle, there's no fight between Superman and Batman. If Superman wanted to incapacitate Batman, he could do it easily in 1,000 different ways without breaking a sweat. He could just use his super cold freeze breath and freeze Batman, or just pick him up and drop him 10 stories, or throw him into the moon, or anything like that. There's no real possibility. In this series, we have Superman punching through jet fighters and flying through giant battleships. And we have Batman, who can barely scrape by with low-level supervillains that don't have any powers at all. When he was fighting Two-Face, we're hearing that his legs are sore. When he's fighting the leader of the leader of the mutant gang, he gets beaten up handily during the first confrontation, and they have that Rocky story arc where he has to go back and fight him again and win. With that great line, Batman and the mutant leader in a mud pit. He says, "This isn't a mud pit; it's an operating table," which, admittedly, is a cool line. And then the Joker, he can't even come up with a plan to easily defeat the Joker, which he should. He has a physical confrontation with another man that should be in his 50s, and he's getting stabbed and shot and beat up and barely scrapes by, and didn't even really beat the Joker. The Joker apparently killed himself somehow. But now we have Superman flying around, and there's the Cold War conflict, and so there's jet fighters that Superman is blowing up in the sky, and then finally a nuclear bomb. And Superman takes this atomic bomb and flies it up into the sky, and it blows up, and saves the world. That's the first impression. But we get a really strange couple panels of Superman. Uh, Something that makes me think that this isn't not only just the way that Superman's behaving, but his power set and his weaknesses are just different than everything I know about Superman. He gets blown up by this atomic bomb, and we see him. Let's see if I can see him there. And there's this one image where it's almost like he's turning into like a corpse zombie. His flesh is rotting away and sinking in. It's like kind of horrifying images of Superman. And it says that he needs the sun to regenerate himself. So it's almost like he can become close to near death and um, rot away into a corpse. And if he was left in the dark, he would die. But if he has sunlight, he regenerates himself. It's unusual. I have never seen anything like that. And as a result, as a result of this atomic explosion that Superman um, managed to hit off track so it didn't blow up the world, there's like power outages all over the place. And so Gotham City and Metropolis and all over the world, there's no more power. And we have Batman saying, like, to himself, like, Superman, you idiot, this was the plan all along. It was to have this atomic explosion that would cause the power outages, and this is when something else is going to happen. And Batman saying, like, I've been following this all along, and I've known how to really handle this, and you just screwed the whole thing up. And since there's power outages, we have Batman on a horse, and that is a really great panel. Something very silly about Batman. Batman on a horse, though. Here he is again. And so now we have Batman saying that he's this ultimate strategist, and that he can see all of these wheels turning and how gears are interlocking and these big grand plans, and no one else has been able to see it. Meanwhile, he's running amok in Gotham City, and he has this gang, the Sons of Batman, creating a whole other kind of mayhem. And so Superman has to stop Batman, and they're going to have this epic showdown. And now we have Batman saying that with years of preparation, he's going to be able to take down Superman. Now, he had years of preparation to battle Two-Face. He had years of preparation to battle the Joker. He had plenty of time of preparation with this mutant gang, and the Gotham police and every other villain. But every example that we have of Batman confronting any sort of opponent, there's no example of strategy or preparation or using his brilliant mind or detective skills. Instead, it's just this old brawler who goes in and punches people. But now he knows how to save the world from an atomic attack, and he's spent years and years of preparation getting ready for this Superman fight, and it's him wearing body armor and having gadgets. He has Robin in the Batmobile. He has someone else with a bow and arrow. It's a kryptonite bow and arrow. And they have a fight. And thankfully, Superman acknowledges while they're having this fight that this is silly. There's nothing he can do. He's just flesh and like meat and bones. And Superman's just sort of knocking him around, breaking his ribs, breaking his bones, ripping off his armor. There's a few shots of Batman like punching out Superman, which is just utterly ridiculous. And he's using like sonic sound waves, and he's electrocuting him with all of the power of Gotham City from a lamppost. And then finally, there's this kryptonite bow and arrow that hits Superman. And then we get this speech, a line of dialogue where Superman's like incapacitated, Batman's dying because he's gotten beaten to death by Superman. And Batman says, I want you to remember that I'm the only man that was able to defeat you. And maybe it's a cool line. It would be a cool line if it made any sense at all. At the end of this fight, Superman is alive. Batman has a funeral. So, I just don't understand. I don't understand the logic of that statement. And then we find out that Batman somehow faked his death. He's an expert with chemicals, and Robin excavates the casket because he was buried alive, and Robin unearths him. Wayne Manor, the Batcave, was destroyed in a series of explosions set off by Alfred the butler, who then immediately suffers a stroke and dies. And the end is just really disappointing. It's Batman now in a even deeper recess of the Batcave, further underground, as the leader of the Sons of Batman. Robin's there, and so this is the big win. Batman has become an underground cave dwelling leader of like a city gang, which is full of lunatics that it's been shown will just follow anybody. We'll just go from leader to leader. If one leader dies, you just follow the next leader. And Batman's saying that he's going to train all of these people, and they'll have years to prepare for who knows what. Batman has a 14-year-old girl that he has trapped in a cave with these lunatics, and says, well, this is going to be a good life. That's the end. So the second half of this series, I really fell to pieces. I loved the beginning, this premise of Batman coming out of retirement, having a little battle with Two-Face. I thought the mutant gang leader was an odd choice. It's not any one of Batman's villains in his rogue gallery. I guess it makes sense later on when the gang plays a more important role. When the Joker shows up, I was starting to get worried. I thought that the story was going to be building on the fact that Batman's like an older man, and somehow the Joker's scheme would play into that, or Batman's age and experience would somehow affect the strategy of taking on the Joker. The climax with Superman revolves around the Cold War and um, jet fighters and missiles and atomic bombs, which really feels like added on. Instead of like upping the stakes, it just we just hear, well, there's a threat of world destruction. So it just very much like tacked on. Superman's role in this whole thing just doesn't make much sense for his character as Superman, but also doesn't make much sense um, in the story um of Batman coming out of retirement. It just the two things don't uh, coalesce into um, an interesting story. Um, and so it did not feel like this thing was building up to something great, and then we had some awesome payoff. Instead, it's a story that went off the rails. The original premise basically goes away. Um, and I could not have anticipated that it's going to end with Batman being like an underground um, cave dweller leading a group of um, crazy gang members, trapping Robin. As far as I can tell, the only female in this cave is now trapped with an old man and a whole band of crazy people. So I wonder how that worked out for her. There were parts that are it's fun to read, even the parts that were making me wince or roll my eyes. It was still fun reading. It's a fast read. The artwork, um, through the whole thing, the artwork is just incredible. I wonder if I can. Let's see. Like, here's Batman punching Superman, which I think is ridiculous. The panel is great. Here's Batman flying down. Here's Superman who has himself plugged into an outlet on this lamppost. Silly. Looks really cool. And so that's it. The grand conclusion of the four-part series of Batman: The Dark Knight Returns. What I really, I mean, what this does is make me interested in reading a great Batman comic book or series or graphic novel that is a classic interpretation of who Batman is, and makes me much more interested in reading a comic or series or graphic novel that is really true to the spirit of Superman. This is sort of like a fantasy, nightmarish version of these characters in like alternate realities or something. I think it's supposed to be set in the future. I've heard it's not part of continuity. DC apparently has a huge overarching continuity of all the stories, and this isn't actually a part of it. So I would be interested in just reading a great classic Superman comic, and the same thing with Batman. So apart from how fun reading this has been, if I end up reading other great comic books, all the better. So that's it. That's my thoughts on part 4 and the series as a whole. I can't wait to hear what Steve has to say, and Michael K. Vaughan as well, and anybody else. So thank you for watching. Let me know what you think. Leave a comment if you would like, and take care.